The battlefield discovery. The battlefield was quiet now. Smoke still rose from the broken tanks and fallen ships. Dead trees stood like black skeletons. The sky was gray, heavy with dust. Wind blew ash over the silent ruins. The war had ended just 2 days ago, but for Lieutenant Arya Vale it didn't feel like peace. It felt like something was waiting in the silence. Something unfinished. Arya moved carefully through the rubble. She held her scanner in one hand and her pistol in the other. She wasn't here for orders, she was here because of a strange signal. A signal too strong, too advanced to be human. It had started after the final battle. No one else seemed to care, but Arya did. Her boots crunched over shattered glass and burnt metal. She passed the body of a soldier, his face gone, his armor cracked. Human. One of hers. She kept walking. The signal grew stronger. Behind a broken wall, half covered in dirt and blood, she saw something strange. A body. No, a soldier, but not human. The armor was alien. Black and silver, smooth and alive-looking. It pulsed faintly, like it was breathing. The helmet was shaped like an insect's face, with glowing red lines. The being was still alive. Arya stepped back and raised her weapon. The figure moved slightly, just a twitch. Then it spoke. Not in an alien tongue, but in English. Help. Please. Arya froze. Her finger tightened on the trigger. Did you just speak English? The alien's voice was weak, slow. Please. Help me. I'm not what you think. She looked at the scanner. Life signs. Human, impossible. She moved closer, slowly. The armor looked damaged but still active. Some parts of it were melting, others sparking. His chest had a deep burn, and blood, red, not alien blue, was leaking out. Who are you? She asked. He didn't answer. His head rolled to the side. He was unconscious now. Arya knew what she should do. Call command, report the find, wait for pickup. But something told her not to. Something deep inside said, this is not just another enemy. She dragged him into a nearby bunker, away from drones and satellites. It was hard. He was heavy. The armor resisted her touch like it didn't want to let her move him, but she kept going. Inside the bunker, she laid him down. He was breathing, barely. His armor was sealing his wounds, but not fast enough. Need to get this off you, she whispered, even though he couldn't hear. She looked at the armor again. There were no seams, no buttons. Just a living shell around him. She pulled out her toolkit and tried to cut through it. The armor fought back. Every time she made a small cut, it closed again. Like skin healing. She tried heat, then cold, then shock. Finally, she found a weak spot near the neck. A burned crack. Sorry about this, she said, and jammed a tool into the gap. The armor screamed. Not loud, not with sound, but in her head. A sharp mental pain. She almost dropped the tool. But she pushed harder. The armor gave way. The helmet broke apart with a hiss of steam, and what she saw made her heart stop. A human face. Pale, bruised, bloody. But human. Blue eyes. Short dark. Hair. Barely older than her. His lips were dry, but they moved slightly, trying to speak. No. More. Lies. Arya stepped back, shaking. You're human. He nodded just a little. She felt cold. Her mind raced. This wasn't an alien. This was a man. One of them. Wearing enemy armor. Living like them. Fighting like them. What are you? She whispered. But there was no answer. He had passed out again. Arya looked down at him, then at the armor pieces scattered on the floor. Her hands were shaking. This changed everything. The war, the enemy, the truth. She had to make a choice. Call for help and hand him over, or protect him and find out what really happened. Outside, thunder rolled. A storm was coming. Inside the bunker, Arya sat beside the strange man in alien armor, her weapon ready, her heart heavy. She had just torn open his armor desperately, and what she found beneath changed everything. He was one of us. The rain started to fall, slow at first, then heavier. Thick drops hit the bunker's broken roof, echoing like drum beats of a coming storm. Lieutenant Arya Vale hadn't moved in over an hour. She sat on the cold concrete, watching the unconscious man she had pulled from alien armor. His face was peaceful now. Young, pale, too human to be a lie. She kept waiting for something, anything to explain what she had just seen. How could a human be inside that armor? Her radio crackled. Scout Team 7, report status. She didn't answer. Not yet. Instead, she stood and walked toward him. His chest rose and fell slowly. His wounds were deep, but healing faster than normal. The armor had done that. The armor, there wasn't just armor. It was alive. It had tried to keep her out. It had screamed in her mind. And yet it had protected him. A human. She reached into a pouch on her belt and pulled out a small injector. A stim, shot. She hesitated, then pressed it into his neck. The effect was instant. He gasped, his body jolted, eyes wide open. For a second he looked ready to fight, but then his gaze met hers, and softened. You, he whispered. You got it off. Arya nodded. You're human. He gave a tired smile. Not exactly. What does that mean? She demanded. What are you? He looked away. Rain dripped through the broken ceiling above them. I don't know everything, he said, but I remember pieces, fragments. They did something to us, changed us, sent us into battle, I don't know why. Who did? She asked. The aliens? He shook his head. No. Your people. Arya froze. He saw the disbelief on her face and pushed himself up with a groan. My name was Kalen. I volunteered for something called Project Eden. They said it was for survival, that Earth was dying. They told us we were the last hope. She stepped back. That doesn't make sense. Why would they put you in alien armor? Kalen touched his chest where the armor had been. Because they wanted us to become what we feared. To fight like them. To win like them. They didn't just use alien tech, they blended it with us. Made us something else. Arya shook her head. No, that kind of tech doesn't exist. It didn't, he said. Until Earth made contact and lied about it, she tried to think. None of this was in any briefing. No news, no whispers, no hidden files. But then again, if it was true, it would have been buried deep. Why now? She asked. Why show yourself now? I didn't choose this, Kalen said, his voice breaking. My squad was sent behind enemy lines. We were told to infiltrate, but it was a trap. I don't think Command wanted us back. We were proof of something they wanted to erase. Outside, thunder cracked. She looked at him again. Now she noticed small details. Faint lines on his skin. Silver veins running from his jaw down his neck. Not natural, not fully human anymore. You're dying, she said. He nodded. The link to the armor is broken. Without it, I won't last long. I should call command, she said. He smiled sadly. Go ahead. But the moment you say my name, they'll come to kill us both. Arya felt the weight of her radio in her hand. She thought of all the soldiers she'd seen die, all the enemies she'd fought, all the lies she'd believed. Then Kalen leaned forward slightly, eyes locked on hers. There's a place, he whispered. A facility. I saw it in a memory. Just a flash, buried under ice. I think that's where it started. Where we were made. He held out a small chip. Coordinates. Hidden inside this. You get me there and maybe we find the truth for both of us. Arya stared at the chip. It looked harmless, like any data drive. But she felt it. Everything was changing now. And then, the bunker lit up. A red beam passed over the window. A drone. Down, she shouted, grabbing Kalen and pulling him behind cover. The drone hovered for a moment, scanning. Then more appeared. 3, 5, 7 red lights in the sky. "They found us," Kalen said, coughing. "How?" she whispered. He pointed to a faint tattoo under his collarbone. "Tracker built in." Arya didn't hesitate. She pulled out her knife and pressed it to his skin. "This will hurt." He gritted his teeth. The cut was quick. The tracker came out, glowing. She tossed it into a fuel can and fired her pistol. Boom! The drone lights scattered. Kalen looked at her with surprise. "You're helping me?" She checked her weapon. "I don't know why yet, but I think I need to know the truth." He gave a tired nod. "Then we run." She helped him up. He leaned on her shoulder. Together they slipped into the rain and disappeared into the night. Above them the drones searched, silent, watching. Below them, in a hidden chip, answers waited, and behind them, the people they once trusted were already rewriting the story. The chase begins. The forest was dark. Rain fell through the leaves like broken glass. Every branch creaked, every shadow moved. The night was alive and watching. Lieutenant Arya Vale ran through the trees, her boots slipping on wet roots, her heart racing. Behind her, the forest burned in places where drones had fired. Beside her, Kalen stumbled, half-conscious, one arm around her shoulder. His strength was fading. The removal of the armor had left him weak, and something else was happening to him now. "Just a little further," Arya whispered. They didn't speak loudly. They couldn't. The drones were still searching. They had been running for hours, through the old war zone, across burned fields, and into the woods. Kalen's body was shaking now. He hadn't said much since the tracker was cut out, but his eyes, they looked like they remembered something terrible. 12 hours earlier, inside the bunker, right before they fled, Kalen had whispered a warning. "They won't just send drones. If they know I'm alive, they'll send her." Arya had paused. "Her?" His eyes were full of fear. "Commander Lyra, head of the Eden Project. She doesn't fail. She doesn't forgive." That name meant nothing to Arya. Not yet, but it would. Back in the present, they reached a hollow tree near a ridge. Arya helped Kalen slide down into the shelter and checked his wounds. His veins were glowing faintly silver again. The alien tech. Inside him wasn't dead, it was trying to repair itself. "I need answers," she whispered. "You said you saw something at a facility?" He nodded, barely able to speak. "Cold. Ice. Metal walls. A name. Valis 1. That's where we were made. Do you remember where it is?" He handed her the chip again. "Coordinates are in there, but you need a secure terminal. Civilian tech won't open it." Arya sighed. "I know a place." But before she could say more, her radio buzzed. A voice crackled through, coded but familiar. "Arya, it's me, Captain Dren. You've gone dark. Where the hell are you?" She didn't answer right away. Dren was her old squad leader. Loyal, smart, but she couldn't risk it. Still, the voice continued, calm but firm. "Listen, I don't know what you're into, but Command issued a kill order. Not just for the hybrid, for you too, full wipe." Arya's blood went cold. "I bought you 10 minutes. After that I can't stop them." Silence. Then the signal. Cut. Arya looked at Kalen. "We need to move. Now." Elsewhere, in a command ship above the atmosphere, a woman in black armor watched a screen. Her eyes were gray, her hair was silver and tied back tight. No emotion, no hesitation. Commander Lyra. She stared at the blinking signal from the chip Kalen once held. He had escaped. Her voice was ice. "Deploy Recon Unit 0. Bring them back dead." Back on the ground, Arya and Kalen reached an abandoned relay station, hidden under vines. It was built during the early years of the war and forgotten when the front lines moved. Arya set him down gently. "Stay here. If I don't come back, run." She climbed through a broken window, scanning the dusty room. Old. Terminals. Power still humming faintly. She plugged in the chip. A screen lit up. It asked for a voice code. She hesitated, then tried the one name Kalen had whispered before. Project Eden. The system unlocked. Files loaded. Hundreds of them. Subject, files, experiment logs, genetic data, human AI hybrids, alien brain mapping, failed prototypes, and one video file. She clicked it. A flickering image appeared. A lab. A boy, Kalen, on a table, screaming as wires entered his spine. Scientists watched behind glass. One woman stood closest, Commander Lyra. Her voice echoed. Pain is temporary. Evolution is permanent. The video ended. Arya's hands shook. Everything he said was true. She grabbed the chip, ran outside, and froze. Kalen was gone. The ground showed signs of a struggle, drag marks, blood, and then she heard it, a mechanical sound, like knives scraping metal. She turned and saw them. 3 soldiers in advanced black suits, masks like wolves, eyes red, Recon Unit 0. They moved without sound, no footsteps, no voices, just death. She raised her weapon, but they vanished in the trees, one by one, like ghosts. She backed up slowly, heart pounding, then one of them dropped. From a branch behind her, silent, she turned, fired, hit its chest. It didn't even flinch. It slammed her into a tree. Her vision blurred. She saw the edge of her pistol, reached, too far, and then the ground shook, a flash of light. The soldier screamed, its body thrown back in flames. Kalen stood in front of her, his skin glowing faintly silver, his hand smoking from energy discharge. He was breathing hard, barely standing. They upgraded the killers, he said. But so did we. She stood slowly. We can't win against them, she whispered. No, he agreed. Not yet. But we can survive. Behind them, more lights appeared in the forest. No, time left. They turned and vanished into the trees together. Above them, satellites shifted. Files were deleted, records erased. But something had begun now. A chase not just for life, but for the truth. And the truth was no longer safe in shadows. Project Eden. They traveled underground now, through forgotten tunnels beneath the forest, through rusted train lines, cracked bunkers, and systems abandoned after the war began. Each step took them deeper into silence, deeper into the past. Lieutenant Arya Vale held the light ahead, her pistol ready. Kalen walked behind her, weak, but steady. The glow in his veins had faded a little. He was stabilizing, for now. They had left the drone zone behind, but the danger wasn't gone. It had only changed. 2 days ago, they had been enemies. Now she was guiding him toward something her own government had buried. Something called Project Eden. And it started here, in the cold earth beneath Sector D9. Are you sure this is the place? Arya asked. Kalen nodded. I remember the smell, the metal, the way the walls hum. I don't know how, but I remember. The tunnel opened into a sealed vault door. Big, heavy, unmarked. No words, no signs, just silence. Kalen walked forward, placed his palm against it. The metal lit up beneath his hand. A scanner beeped once. The door hissed and opened. Inside was a hallway of silver and black, clean, undisturbed. Dust didn't live here. Neither did time. The lights flickered on one by one as they stepped through. Arya's heartbeat was loud in her ears. Something about this place felt wrong. Not evil, but unnatural. Like it had been made for things no human should ever touch. They passed rooms with glass walls. Inside, strange machines. Dissected alien bodies. Metal arms with needles. Chairs with straps. Kalen didn't look away. I've been here before, he whispered. Then he stopped outside one room. Inside was a tank, filled with liquid. Floating inside it, another version of him. Or what looked like him. Younger. Smaller. Still. Dead. Arya gasped. Is that one of me, he said. A failed one. She turned to him. How many? He shook his head. I don't know. They kept walking. Soon they found the central control room. Screens lit up as they entered. A smooth voice spoke from hidden speakers. Welcome back, Kaylin. DNA confirmed. Status, incomplete integration. Survival rate, 17%. Kaylin ignored the voice and sat at the terminal. He plugged in the chip. The system opened, files unlocked, and then the truth came. File 1, Project Eden Summary. Objective, create human-alien hybrids capable of surviving future wars. Reason, Earth's DNA was too soft, too emotional, too weak. Solution, blend human minds with alien neural tech. Turn instincts into programming. Result, 113 prototypes. Only 7 survived. File 2, Psychological Control Protocol. All survivors implanted with command triggers, emotional responses reduced, memories rewritten, loyalty ensured through synthetic trauma loops. File 3, Operation Ghostfall Use Prototypes. To infiltrate enemy forces, let them die if captured. Deny existence, clean up all records. Commander, Lyra Mavic. Status, active. Arya stepped back, hand over her mouth. This isn't science, she said. This is murder. They used us like tools, Kaylin said. Made us forget we were people. But you remember now? He nodded. Not everything, but enough. Arya looked at the screen again. There was one more file, locked. Project, seed password required. Kaylin touched the screen. His eyes glowed faintly. The file opened. File 4, Project Seed. Purpose, use. Successful hybrids to create a next generation. Self-replicating soldiers. No aging, no fear, no families. Eden was never about saving humanity. It was about replacing it. The room fell silent. Kaylin turned to her. They were never preparing us for a war with aliens, he said. They were preparing us for a world without regular humans. Arya backed away. So what are you now, Kaylin? A soldier? A weapon? Or something worse? I don't know, he said quietly. But I know what I don't want to be. Suddenly, alarms blared. Unauthorized access detected. The doors behind them slammed shut. Gas hissed from vents above. Kaylin, Arya yelled. He pulled her toward the maintenance hatch. The gas burned their eyes, but they made it through the vent and into a lower hallway. Security bots were waking now, white machines with spinning arms and laser eyes. They ran. In the skies above, Commander Lyra stood, in her dropship, watching, listening. They opened the seed file, the tech beside her said. Lyra didn't blink. Then the game ends now. Kaylin and Arya burst into the escape shaft. She slammed the controls. The door closed, barely. They slid down the long emergency rail into the ice tunnels below. Everything was falling apart. Arya grabbed his arm. We can't run forever. No, he said. We won't. He held up a backup drive he had made inside. I copied everything. The truth. The names. The files. Where will we take it? He looked up at the thin light filtering down from a crack above. To the surface, to the people if they know. They choose what happens next. But they were not alone. In the dark of the ice tunnel, a red sensor blinked. Something had followed them, and it wasn't human anymore. The others, the cold bit into Arya's skin as she and Kaylin crawled through the final stretch of the ice tunnel. Above them, the mountain stood silent, frozen, ancient. Below them, the truth of Project Eden still echoed in Arya's mind. Files of betrayal, manipulation, and a plan to replace humans with living weapons like Kalen. They had the data, the truth. But now, the question was, who could they trust with it? Not Earth Command, not the rebels either. They needed someone outside the system. But to do that, they had to survive the night, and the others were waiting. It began with a sound. Not loud, but unnatural. A low hum that vibrated through the ice itself. Then came the voices, not through ears but minds. He is close. We warned him not to come back. She is not like us. She is dangerous. Arya froze. What is that? Kalen's eyes narrowed. Telepathic link, they're hybrids like me. She raised her weapon. No, he said. Lower it. They'll see that as a threat. But they already think I'm one. They stepped into a hollow chamber carved deep inside the mountain. Old tech, cracked cables, dim blue lights in the walls. This was not Earth-made. 7 figures stood in a circle. Each wore part of the same armor Kalen once had. Some still had. It fused to their skin. Some had no faces, only masks. One was missing half a body, floating on anti-grav limbs. But they all shared one thing. They were human once. Now, something more. The one in the center stepped forward. Female. Tall. Her skin was almost transparent. You could see metal under it. Her voice echoed like glass breaking gently. You brought her here, Kalen. She helped me escape. She is military. She chose truth. The woman tilted her head. Then she chose death. Arya stepped forward, calm but firm. I'm not your enemy. Another hybrid, tall and scarred, growled. You are the reason we were made. Your side built this hell. Kalen raised his voice. Stop. She saved my life. She cut the tracker out. She didn't have to. Silence. Then the leader spoke again. I am Saren. We are the Forgotten, left here to die when Eden failed. The Forgotten One. Saren led them deeper into the chamber, what was once a testing center. Now it was a graveyard of memory, walls full of names, prototype numbers, birth years, death dates. Only a few had no end date. We were told we were heroes, Saren said. Saviors, survivors, but we were just test subjects. She touched a screen, and a video played. One of her as a child, laughing in a lab. Arya watched in silence. I'm sorry, she said quietly. I didn't know. Saren looked at her. And what would you have done if you did? Arya had no answer. Later, around a small heater, they sat in silence. Kalen showed them the stolen data, the video of Lyra, the plan to create a second wave, children born without fear, without thought. Weapons, not people. They're going to erase us, Kalen said. All of us. One hybrid, small and soft-spoken, asked. Then why do we hide? Saren answered coldly. Because if we fight, we become what they made us. Another voice broke in from the dark. But maybe that's the only way to be free. Everyone turned. It was Subject 03. Tall, bald, eyes black like machines. He walked with slow power, every step controlled, calculated. You shouldn't be here, Saren said. You left the link. I didn't leave, 03 said. I grew. I accepted what we are. Not humans, not monsters. Something new. He turned to Kalen. You still believe in them. That's your weakness. I believe in choice, Kalen said. Something they took from us. 3 smiled, then suddenly his arm shifted, turning into a blade. You brought her here, he said to Arya. You carry their blood, their lies. He moved forward, fast, too fast. Arya raised her gun, but Kalen jumped between them. The blade stopped inches from his throat. You kill her, Kalen said. You kill what little is left of our humanity. And hesitated, then lowered his weapon. Your mistake. He turned and walked into the shadows. That night, Kalen couldn't sleep. Arya sat beside him whispering, You still trust me even when your own kind doesn't. Why? He looked at her. Because you never looked at me like a weapon. She looked away. I don't know what I am in this anymore. You're what I need, he said. Not romantically, not emotionally, but morally. She was his compass. And maybe he was hers. Morning came. A signal arrived. It wasn't Earth Command. It was broadcast from the moon, encrypted, hidden, but they decrypted it. A voice spoke. To all hybrids, you are not alone. A sanctuary exists, coordinates attached. Come if you want freedom, or to make war. Arya looked at Kalen. Do we follow it? He nodded, but Saren stepped forward. I'll send scouts. If it's real, we'll go. And, from the shadows, Subject 03 smiled, but not at them, at the sky. Because he had sent that message. And what waited at the other end was not sanctuary. It was the beginning of something far worse. Betrayal protocol. The snowstorm came without warning. 1 minute the path was clear. The next, the world was white. Howling winds, frozen air, and no sky in sight. Lieutenant Arya Vale tightened her scarf and checked her weapon. Kalen walked beside her, quiet, focused. His body was healing, stronger than before, but something about him had changed. He was remembering too much. Behind them, Saren's scouts moved silently through the snow. They were headed to the moonport, an old hidden launch base from the First Interplanetary War. They had all seen the same signal. Sanctuary awaits. But Arya didn't believe it. She felt it in her gut. They were walking into a trap. Kalen slowed down. His eyes closed. Something's wrong, he whispered. He pointed at the snow. No wind. No sound. Just silence. Then, click. A landmine. Too late. Boom. The ground exploded, throwing Arya and Kalen into the air. She landed hard, ears ringing, vision blurred. Shapes moved in the white fog. Not snow. Gas. Her mask snapped on just in time. Kalen wasn't as lucky. He stumbled, coughing, eyes rolling back. Figures in black surrounded them. Smooth armor, red visors, Earth Command's elite, the Blackout Squad. Targets acquired. They didn't shoot. They injected. Sometime later, Arya woke up in a metal chair. Her hands were locked, her feet too. Bright lights above her, cold floor beneath. A white room, not a prison. A lab, and across the table, Commander Lyra, perfect posture, sharp gray eyes, not a strand of hair out of place. You're awake, she said softly, like a teacher talking to a misbehaving student. Arya didn't speak. Lyra smiled. You know, I expected better from you. Top of your class, Medal of Honor, loyal. And then you go rogue over one hybrid. He's not just a hybrid, Arya said. Lyra leaned forward. No, he's the last successful prototype, the only one who can unlock Seed Phase 2. Arya frowned. You mean the child soldiers? Lyra's smile widened. No, dear. I mean the auto-replicating species. Born perfect. No war, no politics, just control. And what happens to the rest of us? Lyra's voice dropped. We fade. They brought Kalen in, strapped to a chair. Wires in his skin. His veins glowing bright now. But his eyes, they weren't scared. They were awake. Too awake. You made me, he said to Lyra. And you are our masterpiece, she replied. Then, why are you afraid of me? Lyra laughed. Afraid? No, Kalen, I'm proud. You're the future. I'm not yours anymore. Lyra's eyes narrowed. We'll fix that. She tapped a remote. Suddenly, Kalen screamed. His body twisted. Arya shouted, Stop it! But Lyra just watched. He still. Has the override protocol in his brain, she explained. One word and he becomes whatever I want. Then Lyra walked to Arya. You thought you could change him, she whispered. But he's not your friend. He's a program. One glitch away from a massacre. Arya stared at Kaelin. You're wrong. Lyra nodded to her soldiers. Activate. Command word Eden 1. Kaelin's body went still, his head dropped, silence. Then, he raised his head, eyes glowing. He stood. Chains broke. And he looked straight at Lyra. I'm not your puppet anymore. Lyra took a step back. That's impossible. You upgraded me, Kaelin said. And forgot what that means. He raised his hand. Electricity sparked, every screen exploded, the room shook. Alarms rang. Gas poured in. Arya kicked her chair over, smashed her cuffs on the edge of the table, broke free. Kaelin grabbed her hand. Run! They burst through fire, smoke, gunfire. The lab fell apart around them. Saren's voice echoed through Kaelin's implant. We're in, covering your exit. Blackout soldiers fired. One shot hit Kaelin, but the armor under his skin took the impact. They reached the exit tunnel. An aircraft waited. Saren's stolen ship. But Lyra appeared one last time, blocking the path. She pointed her gun at Arya. Give me the data. Arya aimed back. No. Kaelin stepped forward. Let her. Go, Lyra, this ends with me. Lyra hesitated, then pulled the trigger. But Kaelin moved faster. He took the shot and hit Lyra with a blast of bioenergy so strong it cracked the walls. She dropped. Not dead, but broken. They escaped into the sky. The base exploded behind them. Arya knelt beside Kaelin. He was bleeding again. I'm fine, he said, smiling faintly. They'll chase us. They'll say we're monsters. Then we show them what monsters don't do, Arya said. We choose mercy. Saren sat at the controls. We're headed to the moon, she said. If the signal is real, that's where it all ends, or begins again. The truth must survive. The moon was never silent. Under its surface, long forgotten by most of Earth, were tunnels, vaults, and an ancient communication tower, built before the First War, abandoned during the Second. Now it was the last hope. Arya Vale stood inside the tower's core. The walls pulsed with weak energy. Dust floated in the weightless air. Screens flickered. Old systems waited like ghosts of another time. Behind her, Kaelin sat against the wall. His wounds had reopened. Blood, still red, stained his armor. But he was conscious, focused. Saren and the other hybrids were setting charges across the lower levels. If this mission failed, they would bury the truth forever, but if it worked, everyone on Earth would hear the truth in one global broadcast. Outside the tower, Earth command ships were arriving. Silent black shadows against the stars. Inside them, thousands of soldiers, drones, and her, Commander Lyra, still alive, still coming. Arya activated the terminal. Message lit up. Insert key. Begin broadcast protocol. Kaelin handed her the drive. It's all in there. The experiments, the files, the death orders, the command triggers, even the names of the politicians who signed off. She looked at him. Once we send this, there's no going back. I don't want to go back, he said, but Earth won't just believe it. They don't have to believe, Kaelin whispered. They just have to see. Saren's voice echoed, over the intercom. They've landed, we have 5 minutes, tops. Arya nodded and began the upload. Suddenly, alarms screamed, the tower's power grid dropped, the broadcast stalled, system interrupted, remote intrusion detected. They're jamming the signal, Arya said. Someone hacked into the tower, it's a Lyra, Kaelin said. She's inside the system. Arya opened the firewall menu. A face appeared on the main screen. Cold eyes, silver hair, calm voice. Commander Lyra. I warned you, Lieutenant. Now you've doomed everything. You doomed everything the day you chose lies over lives, Arya replied. Lyra smiled. You can't stop evolution. You can't stop the future. I'm not trying to stop it, Arya said. I'm trying to save its soul. Suddenly the tower shook. Explosions below. Gunfire. Saren called out. They're breaching the main hall. We'll hold them. Kaelin stood, weak but defiant. She's inside the code, he said. She linked her brain to the AI when she created us. That's how she's shutting us down. Arya turned. Then how do we stop her? Kaelin looked at the control chair beside the broadcast core. I can link in, like she did. No, Arya said. You'll burn out. You're still recovering. He touched her hand. I'm the reason this all began. Let me be the reason it ends. Arya hesitated, but she saw the calm in his eyes. He had made peace with his past. He was ready to choose his future. Kaelin sat in the chair. The system stabbed into his mind. He screamed, once, then went silent. Inside the network, he faced her. Lyra stood in the center of white light. Digital. Still powerful. You shouldn't be here, she said. You made me to obey, he replied. But I learned to think. Lyra raised her hand. You'll never win. Kaelin smiled. I don't need to win. I just need to break your hold. Back in the real world, Arya watched as the system surged. Sparks flew from the walls. Then, the screens lit up. The truth began broadcasting. Across Earth, children in school saw videos of young hybrids being tortured. Soldiers saw mission logs that revealed they were used as cover. Families saw names of leaders who had signed secret execution orders. Scientists watched their stolen research twisted into weapons. The world saw everything. The truth was out, and the lie could never return. Inside the system, Lyra screamed. Her code began to fracture. Her control slipped. You think people will forgive you? She cried. Kaelin's voice echoed calmly. I don't need forgiveness. Just freedom. With a final pulse of light, Lyra's digital form shattered, and Kaelin collapsed. Arya ran to him. He was breathing. Barely. You did it, she whispered. He smiled. Is the sky still there? Yes. Then maybe we still have time to fix things. She held him tightly, not as a soldier, not as a hybrid, but as someone worth saving. Later, as the tower went silent, Saren and the surviving hybrids joined them. We've started a war, one said. No, Arya replied. We've ended one. The real one. The war for the truth. In the days that followed, the world changed. Some leaders fell. Some denied everything. Others ran. But people remembered the broadcast. They remembered Kaelin. They remembered the scream of the system and the light of truth. 1 year later, a monument stood on Earth and the moon. A single line carved in metal. She tore open his armor, desperately. What she found beneath changed everything. The end.